Alright, here in the garage to do a little drift prep on this, but first gotta clean up. Okay, so now that we've got a little more room to work, I'll kind of tell you guys what I'm doing today. First time out in this car, had a few minor issues at the track. It was its maiden voyage since it was finished. I kept blowing a few fuses for the battery system, the starter, also power steering pump gave out, already replaced that. Trying to make it to open drift tomorrow, so I got a few things to do. I'm gonna flush the power steering again, add a filter because there was some metallic matter that was in there. Already replaced one of the breakers, also added a catch can because I had a PCV hose blow and spray oil mist everywhere. That was fun to clean up. Yeah, so got the fuses fixed already. Test started it yesterday. I'm gonna do an oil change also, flush the transmission or the power steering fluid, add a filter, and also swap out the rear wheels. Got new tires mounted on the TEs, and I think that's about it. Oh, the clutch issue. So after the car sat, I got in and the clutch went to the floor. Looked it up online. I guess it's a common problem for T56s that have sat. Also, the fluid's pretty dark. I guess that's what happens sometimes with different clutch materials. They get past the seals and get into the fluid. So I'm gonna flush and bleed this today as well, and hopefully everything will work out for tomorrow. Here's what I was running on the electrical system. I had this 150 amp as a fusible link for the starter, and this 250 on the battery for the overall electrical system. First thing to go during the track day was the 150 amp with the starter. I bypassed that, just hooked it up directly, and later on ended up popping the 250 amp. I think partially why it was popping them was only on starting, was because when the power steering pump went, I think it was starting to seize up and putting a little more strain on the starter, which made those pop. At the end of the day, I was running it bypassed all the way with no fuses just so I could run, and anytime I shut the car off while it was hot and tried to start it again, it would crank like it had a dead battery, but it didn't, so it was really fighting something. But since then I replaced those with these breaker style for 300 amps. Hopefully those are rated high enough now that the power steering's fixed, and if they do pop, I can just reset them. So much easier than having to switch these out or make this kind of jerry-rig thing I had to get running, so I could test drive it the other day. One other thing I did forget to mention is I had my, I don't know if you guys can see that, it's kind of bright. I had relays mounted here next to that ignition one, this panel here actually, and unfortunately one of my passengers kicked one of my fan relays off, so it's causing the motor to run a little hot, and I couldn't figure out why until I got back and noticed that that was missing. There's the starter, how it's hooked up now. No need for a fusible link there, just a distribution block that goes to this manual cutoff switch I've got here. Then I'll show you the new setup in the trunk with the breaker. It's a little safety and also to pass tech. Alright, so here's the goods. New power steering fluid, new brake fluid for the clutch master. And this is a Wix transmission filter that will work for the power steering system to get out whatever is left of that pump that failed. And Mobil 1 oil and oil filter for the oil change. And probably gonna stop talking now. This is my first time making one of these videos. Probably a little awkward. So I'll just film the rest of me working on this, in like a time-lapse format or something. One more thing I noticed since the last time I was out, my front tires are making pretty good contact with the sway bar, so I'm going to add some spacers to push those out a little bit. And also, if you can see, the inner tie rods got pretty caked up with dirt, so I'm going to be adding some boots, cleaning those, re-greasing them, getting them covered up. Kind of like over on this side here. There's the spacers I'm using. Those are the new Powered by Max adjustables. Pretty cool. It's got the bolt-on base, and you slide on the additional size that you need. So here's one installed. There's cleaned and greased inner tie rod, and we'll be ordering some boots to keep those clean. get to film quite as much as I wanted to, but got everything done. Ran into an issue getting the sway bar off actually. Couldn't get enough spacer to safe spacer amount to get away from that sway bar, so I just took it off. Ended up having to redo the alignment because I had to take the tie rods off while I was trying to get everything to work. But the new wheels are on, car's ready to go. It's now almost 1 o'clock, just about to test drive and put on the trailer. So if everything goes good, hopefully I'll upload another video tomorrow of open drift.